Wouldn't you like to know where the moon came from? How it came to be in orbit around the Earth? Well, you're about to find out. Now, the prevailing theory of the origin of the moon in mainstream science is the giant impact hypothesis. Now, this hypothesis proposes that a very large body, possibly the size of Mars, crashed into the Earth billions of years ago. Now, there is no solid evidence of such a thing actually happening, obviously, since no one has historical records going back that far. It is just an idea that some mainstream scientists came up with, and people sort of went along with it. But the truth of the matter is that mainstream science has no idea where the moon came from. Even today, the Earth is an 8,000-mile diameter ball of liquid rock with an 8-mile thin crust, like a balloon filled with water. And what happens when you pop a balloon filled with water? Well, if you crashed a Mars-sized body into a liquid ball, even if it had a thin crust, you almost certainly would blow up the planet. The idea that a huge glob of molten rock would have neatly lifted up and formed the moon, it's more than a little stretch in my view. But the moon is really large compared with the other moons typical of other planets, especially considering the size of Earth, which is much smaller than, say, Jupiter or Saturn. So I guess a Mars-sized object would crash into Jupiter, and it could throw up a bunch of stuff and not explode the planet. You see, Jupiter has a lot more mass than the Earth, and because of the greater force of gravity with such a large planet, it might be able to survive such an impact more easily than the much smaller-sized Earth. So, the giant impact hypothesis of the origin of the moon seems, at least to me, like so many other ideas of mainstream science where nutty ideas are floated in order to avoid considering some other more uncomfortable ideas. Well, as far as we at Farsight are concerned, we simply do not know how the moon got to be where it is today, and we don't consider the mainstream idea very persuasive. So we decided to simply take a look and see how it got there. And that is what you are going to see today in this video. We now know exactly how the moon got to where it is now. I am Courtney Brown, Director of Farsight, where we study the perceptual process known as remote viewing. Remote viewing is a mental process that is done using highly structured methodologies that are derived from those developed by the United States military and used for espionage purposes. But Farsight is civilian, and we use remote viewing for scientific experiments and for exploration. Now, this new project conducted at Farsight employs remote viewers who are among the most experienced and highly trained viewers existing today. The remote viewers all describe much the same thing, all corroborating reports. And it is worth emphasizing that the remote viewing was done totally blind, and none of the remote viewers communicated with one another about the project during the data collection phase. Even their final presentations were recorded on video with no one else in the room. This is not science fiction told through riveting remote viewing conducted under defensible, clean, scientific conditions. This is as real as it gets. Now, always remember that Farsight is totally data-driven. We never rely on he said, she said stuff. We never state that something is true because so-and-so said it was true. We just collect our own data using a very new and reliable approach to data gathering that took our viewers years to perfect, and then we show you our raw data. Then it is up to you to decide. The mainstream has been lying to you for so long about so many things that it would be useless for us to simply add our opinions to the clutter of voices that barrage you. You simply would not be able to know what to believe. But if you see the data for yourself, and then you will ask the right questions, and eventually you will come to the right conclusions, independent of any official narrative. Some people call that freedom. Farsight's methodology for conducting investigations is certainly novel from the perspective of mainstream science, but our methods are rigorous, and they really work well when practiced by highly trained remote viewers working under defensible and totally blind conditions. The theory of how remote viewing works has been discussed in my book, Remote Viewing, the Science and Theory of Non-Physical Perception, and you may find that of interest. Using the methods that we have developed at Farsight, our remote viewers, in a sense, act as a team of reporters who personally witness events across space and time. Now, sometimes you simply cannot know something unless you look at it personally, and that is how we at Farsight address some of the greatest mysteries in the universe. All remote viewing projects require a target. Now, for this project, the target has 3 focuses. Focus 1 is the moon as it first appeared in the Earth's orbit. And the target time for focus 1 is the moment when the moon first appeared in Earth's orbit. Now, focus 2 is where the moon originated from before it was in Earth's orbit. Now, focus 3 is Earth at the time when the moon first appeared in the Earth's orbit. So, for this project, we sent our team of remote viewers to those places to see what they perceived. There are some easily verifiable aspects to this project. There is the Earth and there's the moon. So you should expect the remote viewers to observe those things clearly. Everything else is new. For example, for focus 1, if the giant impact hypothesis is correct, the remote viewers would necessarily observe something crashing into a planet, and then something large would eject from the planet. But if the giant impact hypothesis is not correct, well, then we don't know what they will see or perceive, but we certainly want to find out. Now, these target focuses are a lot to remember, so we will put up text on the screen for you to see when the viewers shift their perceptions to these focuses. But keep reminding yourself that the remote viewers are all doing their work totally blind to the targets. You will know what they are perceiving when you watch them, but they will not know what you know. The remote viewers worked solo using instrument blinding protocols, and they followed a script with non-leading generic movement exercises that have the viewers move their perceptions to various focuses, places, objects, and events. Now, sometimes the viewers jump around in their perceptions as they get attracted to various target elements, but usually we manage to keep things organized. Now, we have 4 remote viewing sessions for you today. This is an important scientific mystery, and we begin with a session by Aziz Brown, and then Intisam, Yeme Genet, and finally Shantae. After you see all of the sessions, I will return to help pull everything together.